So let's get back to this history talk, because now the country's done taken over. You know what I'm saying? Taken over pretty much by these foreign countries, these foreign entities, these armies. Spanish, the French, the English, they all had a piece in this. But mostly, if you notice, the Spanish was in the South continent of the Americas. Because look at the results now of mostly Spanish-speaking countries in the South continent. Caribbean is a mixture with the language. You know what I'm saying? But what up, everybody? How was all doing? Hope all is well. And if not, hope we get back on track sooner than later. So you can add to your thing. Nah, man. John will stop. It's crazy how time goes. Because from the time Columbus buck up in the Caribbean to the 1700s, that's over what, 1500? That's over 200-300 years. You know what I'm saying? But if you notice, it took some time. Because in the 15th century, in 16th century, that's when they started coming over and building small settlements, building towns. Along the East Coast, actually. You know what I'm saying? And it's what, like, up north, because if you notice, the New England area, you know what I'm saying? New York, Massachusetts, Maine, Connecticut, Rhode Island, all those small states. Because when they first came, right, they called them, after Columbus found the land and sent back to the queen, whoever the case is, reported it back to the land, they slowly started sending people over here, you know? So when they came and started settling, they're setting up little small towns, small settlements. And in the 15th and 16th century, that was going on when people from Europe would take a chance of coming to the New World. They don't know what to expect, but this is existence. Life is, you know what I'm saying? And they would come and they would set up shop, and the natives allow it. And natives ain't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? The natives is peaceful and let it go down. But the land is big as well, so some spot didn't even know that was being set up, because the natives are living their life, doing their thing, because America is a very large land. And throughout the land, the different cultures were living and doing their thing. But as the explorers, you know what I'm saying, as the settlements built and grew and got bigger and bigger, in a couple hundred years, that's when the aristocrats, the rich, come up with the idea of creating a new company, you know what I'm saying? Create a new country. Branch off from Europe and those European states and bring a whole new country over here. You know what I'm saying? And even when they come with a country over here, right? All of those settlements were separate. They grew so big, you can call them states or whatever the case is. You know, because the settlements along the East Coast were set up and they grew. A lot of people came to the New World. You know what I'm saying? Life was going on. The settlers were living now. You know? They had an understanding with the natives and the Aboriginal people. They had an understanding with those people. But it was moving along. It was going. And in the 16th century, that's when the war started. Now, the European nations have their foothold because they got those people, the settlements are settling in, you know? And the settlements, each settlement grew a long way. New England, like I said, on the East Coast, they all grew. And the settlements grew big. And when, you know, people big, buffing their chest, they can go to war. The protection from Europe and all of that, that's when those natives rose up against the Aboriginal people now. You know, throughout the land, that's when those natives want to take over and create their own country, basically. They want to form the union and join the states together and go again and take over the whole piece, basically. Now, by then, they had things going on with some of the tribes. I think they call them the 5 recognized tribes, right? And they had things going on with them, things set up throughout the country, but there were a whole bunch of other tribes as well. But to the colonizers, it doesn't matter. They're going to move forward with their plan. You know? They come up with stuff, manifest destiny, the land below. What? God gave them the land because nobody controls it. But yes, the natives had their rules and laws. So they disregard all of those. And then when they had them pursued war against the natives, and mostly they would kick them off their land, basically, right? Because their colonies or their towns are expanding, and more people are coming over, along with their families growing and getting bigger and bigger as time goes. This is about 200 years of them settling on the land. You know what I'm saying? So just use your imagination and see how life was when you had the Aboriginal people, the FBAs, living in their towns and their homes and doing their thing, how they living. And then you have people from other continents come over, set up shop, starting out, you know, want to be a part of the situation. And eventually they grew big enough to take over the situation and control the whole land and all the lands. And there's a lot of wars that went on 1700s, and now in the 1800s, the Europeans are fighting amongst themselves for the land. You know, they all live unsettled on the land, but now they want to control it and own it. And Canada became its own country, as you can see, at least its own union with its bunch of states. Same thing with the United States. United States, so means all of the states came together to make a union. And as time goes, they taking the land over from people. They're expanding and growing over couple hundred years. You know what I'm saying? So by 1700, they declare independence from Europe. And other than that, they want to before peace among the French and the Spanish and the English, they all battled and they all fought for lands. You know what I'm saying? But I want to say the South Continent, I can imagine they had their battles too, but it was amongst themselves for leadership. But there's a lot of different countries that developed. As you can see, they split the land up. So in the 1800s, that's when the European fought amongst themselves, split the land up, and there you go. Now, here it is. Who rules what? Who got what? You know what I'm saying? The reality of the history of the Americas. And now, the Americas, at least North America, became a superpower of the world because who set everything off and set up the new world and all these different things and took it over from the natives, from the Aboriginal people and the FBAs? They're the one that resides and benefit from America. And as America grow, basically control the whole world and run the whole world, you know? And here we are, all these hundreds of years later, still in rule. The natives have been subservient for so long, no control, all the history that's been going on. Remember, this topic is not covered, but it is covered when you go to higher education. You know, when you go to the libraries, you might see history parts. But when you look at the history parts in the history books, it's the victories or the victors present what they did, what they saw from the winning side. But once they analyze how the winners talk and the winners their story, they can get an understanding of how the losers had it. Still do, because the reality is a matrix that we are in 2026. It's a mind game, and you have to learn how to read the game to move along in society in these times, you know. But I'm talking history just to stir up thoughts of what happened, the reality of things. You know what I'm saying? This is life. This is existence. And we have to know what happened. At least I want to know. It's the reality of the history, and it's not being taught, but it's blatantly can see. You know? Remember, the difference between people because of distance, land, and where they are. And there's a lot of people in this world. But when you think about the Pangea, that was the one world thing, and I think that's where they want to go back now, with the government controlling everything, though. Because when Pangea was one landmass, people just lived. But since the world is not no more Pangea, it's broken up. Even if it's not even broken up, but parts of the mass has been sunken under the water. Right? It was sunk, and then other lands stand up like the continents that we have now. And I get it. And people live on these continents. And someone, some group, something, some energy wants to control everything and bring it back to one again. Well, this is the reality of it, you know what I mean? And throughout time, put the pieces of the puzzle together and see who's behind it all. Because war is a business. War is a trickery, treachery. War is psychological. You know what I'm saying? But somebody is doing it. But it's all about control. They want to control how you exist. You know what I'm saying? Because your existence sustained their, you know what I mean, reign. Channel star. It's reality, man, but we're talking history and we're just holding the vibe and putting some thoughts to the realities of the situation of the Americas. North continent, South continent, the Caribbean islands. They call it the West Indies, right? Thinking about everything in itself and lining it up. It's a vibration. You can feel it in the air. It's the history of the FBAs. And they're still here. Just have an idea of how it was, how life is. You know what I'm saying? One thing though, a lot of traditions, a lot of things that people do in the past, we don't do no more because it's lost, it's forgotten. We don't know no more. Because history is something else. But once you understand the truth, then you can see where things are going. But you gotta stay focused though. You know what I mean? I'm CLP, holding the vibe, and I will catch you on the next vibration. It's all love. Channel Star.